Before I talk about this locomotive, there's something I have to tell. In September 2022, the Oigawa Railway, the line famed for operational steam locomotives, was heavily damaged by a typhoon. 20 parts of the line were blocked, especially the one where a landslide destroyed the rails, and all train on the line got cancelled. The railway is now partially restored for passenger services, but 2/3 of the line is still in operative condition, being hard to tell when we'll be able to resume the whole service. I originally planned to release this video much later, but due to this unexpected tragedy, I altered the uploading schedule to raise awareness of the line's dire situation. So, this time I'd like to take a deeper look at two flagship locomotives of the Oigawa Railway, Class C11, and 4 siblings running on other railways. With no exaggeration, this is the most useful class of tank engines ever built in Japan, and the age-operational C11 has fascinating stories to tell. In the 3 consecutive videos, I'm gonna unravel their origin, how all 6 locomotives were brought back to life, and where they are now. The year is 1932, only 3 years after the Great Depression. The Japanese government railway was having its predicament with a decreased number of passenger services. The golden age of majestic steam engines like C53 was getting faded out. Meanwhile, the branch line services required a drastic renovation as the old imported steam locomotives began showing their ages. For clearing these issues, JGR required practical, cost-efficient, and powerful locomotives for both passenger and goods trains. The railway took shine to Shima Hideo, the legendary engineer who eventually designed the D51 locomotive and Series 0 train. For the sake of renovation, Shima designed his first ever steam locomotive in 1930, Class C10, a mixed-traffic tank engine. The performance of that locomotive was ideal. However, he was oblivious that the weight of this engine was too heavy for most branch lines. Due to this unexpected issue, introducing another new upgraded tank engine now became a pending task for him. Shima modified the design of the C10 to lessen the whole weight of the new engine. One notable improvement is instead of the carbon riveting, he utilized the latest arc welding at the time for weight reduction. After a lot of modification, the new class of engine successfully lost 5% of its precursor's whole weight, and a brand new tank engine, Class C11, now formed. The new locomotive soon demonstrated versatility in comprehensive duties, pulling passengers and goods train throughout the almost entire JGR region. 381 of them had been built by 1947, and the number is much higher than any other tank engines ever built in Japan. This really insinuates the fact that the C11 has higher performance than most Japanese tank locomotives. The government railway had already been built and eventually introduced much stronger and faster tank engines, but their practicality did not overwhelm C11 because of their weight and complexity. But in the 1960s, as the age of steam was almost fading out, many of them began to be withdrawn from service and scrapped. However, even in the 1970s, some of the C11s were still operational in Hokkaido, and one changed the course of the steam locomotives preservation movement in Japan forever. Coup number 227. 227 was built by the main foundry of the Nippon Shadow in 1942 for the JGR regions in Hokkaido. After working on 3 short lines, this engine was withdrawn from service in 1975. Around this time, the people of Oigawa Railway were searching for an ideal steam locomotive for their new special steam train. They already procured 2 operational steam engines, Class B6 and C12, but the attractive efforts were not ideal for pulling the heavy passenger services on the railway. After a long research, Shirai Akira, the railway manager of the Rhine, found 227 and transferred all the way from Hokkaido to Oigawa's main station. The engine received a repair, and in 1976, the railway officially launched the Kawaneji Steam Express with 227 special train and began a pioneer of the steam locomotives preservation movement. While the National Railway withdrew its final steam engine from passenger service in the same year, the engine represented the rebirth of the nation's steam locomotives. The Kawaneji Steam Express has been very successful, and this C11 was proven to be ideal for the special train of the line. Checking around the meandering curves of the railway, return to the main station with no need to change direction on a turntable, and requires only one time for refilling water during a one-way journey. So much so that in the 80s, the railway introduced another C11, number 312, the 1946 built locomotive. This engine served around the Fukushima area, and after its retirement in 1975, the locomotive got statically displayed at a roadside station in Mie Prefecture. In 1987, the station moved to a new location, and the owner donated the locomotive to the Oigawa Railway. The engine backed into operation in 1988, and alongside 227, the engine had been in charge of the steam express service of the line. However, the frame of the locomotive began showing its age, which was beyond repair, and the railway had no choice but to withdraw the engine from the service. Oigawa Railway now required another Class C11. After a twist and turn, they finally found one, number 190. Number 190 was built by Kawasaki Heavy Industry in Kobe in 1940 and allocated to Kyushu Island. In 1950, after being transferred to Kumamoto region on the island, the locomotive was repainted with special lining for the royal train. Here, you can see the engine and two of her other sisters standing proudly, ready for the emperor's visit. In October of the year, number 190 pulled the royal train while Emperor Hirohito was on board, the pinnacle of this engine's whole career ever. After her retirement in 1977, number 190 was scheduled to be scrapped, but the railway enthusiast purchased and preserved this precious engine on his private land. So many words with peace. Almost 2 decades later, in 2001, Oigawa Railway took this engine under its wing after the line had to withdraw number 312. This time, around $300,000 of donations from fans both near and far were made to support the engine's restoration project. After 2 years in 2003, 190 back to scene for the first time in almost 30 years with Royal Train style lighting, the most authentic operational C11 ever. So, these are the rough background of the two engines until the early 2000s. Both number 227 and 190 had given warm welcomes to every visitors of the railway for years. However, in 2011, a major earthquake struck northern Japan. Plus, after the nasty accident of an express bus took place, a new regulation was applied for the motor coach services from major cities to the countryside. These two unexpected incidents led to a drop of the 20% number of the passengers on the line. The railway was desperate to attract new visitors at any cost. So much so that in 2013, the railway repainted 227 to look like this. This is a representation of SR-kun, the mascot character of the railway, created around 2005. I'd say this whole shebang is really, debatable. However, this is around the time when the line pulled off initiating the festival of Day Out with Thomas. I think I don't need to explain this event, but long story short, a real steam locomotive disguises Thomas and his friends' characters, even though it's not Halloween. This festival is well known on the heritage railways in the UK and the US to attract younger visitors to the line. After the negotiation with Sony Creative Products, the official license holder of the franchise in Japan, the event got officially greenlit. Soon, number 227, the forerunner of the line, got fully painted with Thomas style with a huge base mounted on the front, costing around $2,600. In 2014, the Oigawa Railway officially launched a special Thomas train with fully painted coaches. Depending on the event and the season, Thomas himself has also changed his style over the years, including Christmas, Halloween decorations, and London, Brighton and South Coast Railway Ripley. In 2021, 190 stepped in to be Thomas, as the railway had to withdraw 227 due to a spoiler inspection. In 2022, the engine still dresses as Thomas and is operational for the special train. Until 2019, the line managed to increase passengers by 60% compared with 2013, thanks to the Thomas event. It was such a great success that the two C11s changed the public perceptions of the line in a better way. Oigawa Railway now became the line famed for Thomas the Tank Engine. So, I covered the two flagship engines on the line. Next time we're gonna see through the rest of the full operational C11 locomotives in Japan. Stick around as I have a lot of ground to cover.